microphone. Can you guys hear me all right? My voice projects. All right. I turned it off that way.
Good.
Well, thank you guys for the opportunity again to visit you guys and to kind of hear what you guys are hearing, because that's the most important thing, not so much what I have to say, but what you guys have to say. As she was saying, I'm the field rep for the Congressman of Fresno County, and a lot of what I do is this. I'm out in the community talking to folks and letting you know what your congressman's doing, and even if it's not your congressman, what a congressman from this region's working on, and to get feedback from you guys, whether you appreciate his work, improvements on his work, or just concerns you have with the federal government overall. So thank you guys for providing me this opportunity. I guess to just jump right into it, a little bit about the congressman. I'm sure you guys already know that he represents all of Tulare County and the eastern third of Fresno County, which is all of Clovis, the mountain regions to the east, and parts of Fresno as well, going all the way down to Reedley, Kingsburg, Orange Grove areas. So the interesting thing about our district is that in 2 years it will not be the same district with redistricting coming up. So as we see kind of what we've observed with the commission is that it might actually be quite a bit better for the valley in terms of representation, that frankly there's no way that that the commission can do a worse job than Sacramento has done for the past decades. So we're very excited to see what that'll look like, and the congressman's very confident that whatever district he's going to run in, that he will be the member of Congress for. He said that he'll follow wherever the majority of his current constituency is. So that remains to be seen, and it'll be very exciting, frankly. It turns kind of conventional wisdom on its head for the first time in decades, that consultants and all the people that know everything know nothing about what the commission's going to do, and that's good. We need that in California. We need some good ideas. So that's just a little bit about the district. Legislatively, my boss has introduced quite a bit of legislation this past Congress. The most recent is the Energy Roadmap for America, which has received a lot of press, at national press as well as at the local level as well. And a lot of what it does is he's a very big proponent for nuclear fuel, or nuclear energy. He's asking for 200 new nuclear reactors to come online in the next coming years. Will that happen under the current president? Definitely not. But it gets the conversation going, and that's very important. That's what we need, because frankly, I mean, if India and China are doing it, we need to keep up with them in terms of technology, or we won't be able to keep up with them in terms of economy. A few other things it does is it opens up our outer coastal regions, as well as Alaska and our Midwest, the oil shale reserves that we have, and allows us to mine those, because frankly, our economy runs on oil and fossil fuels still, and we're not going to switch over in 1 or 2 years as the administration and as the environmental wackos would like to have us believe. We've invested hundreds of billions of dollars in alternative fuels, and the percentage of energy that's produced from that is 0.5%. In business, that's not a good rate of return at all, and there's no reason that the government should be allowed to do that either. So what it would do is these new regions that we'd be able to mine fossil fuels from, the royalties from those government leases would then be put into government trust funds, and then the private market would be able to compete for those funds to invest in alternative fuels, because alternative fuels aren't a bad thing, but they're not quite here yet, and we need to invest in them and invest in them appropriately. Not pick winners and losers based on politics and things we've done with ethanol, wind, and solar. Like I said, not that those are bad things, but it's just not there in the way that money's being invested isn't appropriate. So that's just a little bit about that legislation. We're very excited about it, and it's come a long way since my boss first introduced it when he first entered Congress. It's developed and changed based on circumstances. So we're excited about it, and like I said, we've gotten a lot of positive press about it. I guess a few other pieces of legislation is pension reform, and I'm sure you guys have heard a little bit about it, and if you haven't, I'd welcome any questions you do have about it. There's anywhere from $1 to $6 trillion in unfunded pensions in this country, depending on who you ask. And you can't have a conversation about reforming public pensions if you don't know what that true number is. $1 to $6 trillion is just too much of a discrepancy. So what my boss's legislation would do, frankly, is just it would put all those pensions on a uniform accounting measure. It says, taxpayers, this is how much is unfunded. This is what you're paying for, because at the end of the day, public pensions are paid for by your guys' money, taxpayer money, and the public has a right to know where that money is being spent. California alone has somewhere about $500 billion in unfunded pensions. let alone our budget deficits. So as we go forward, we need to address that, and that's frankly one of the next big issues, or storms, as my boss calls them, that we're going to be facing, because trillions of dollars is a lot of money, let alone the entitlement programs that need reform as well. Those are anywhere, we hear numbers from 60 to 100 trillion dollars in unfunded liabilities that the government just doesn't put on its ledger, and the entitlements being, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. And so those are issues that just, they need to be addressed now, they need to be reformed, and my boss has worked on ideas very intimately with other members of Congress to address them. One committee he's on is the Ways and Means Committee, and out of that committee is where all three entitlement programs are from. And so he's directly in the middle of the conversation and proposing his ideas. And so we always, look to our constituents if they have additional ideas or feedback. And so on the Ways and Means Committee, he's also on the Subcommittee of Trade and Health. And so Subcommittee of Health, obviously Medicare and Medicaid fall into that. An additional committee that he's on now is the Select Intelligence Committee, and that's a very exciting appointment that he received this Congress. He was very honored to take it, and it's a huge responsibility. He gets the same the national security briefings that President Obama receives now. He knows a lot that, frankly, we don't know, because it's such sensitive information that it would compromise a lot of what our country's working on, and it would compromise our troops that are deployed overseas. So, like I said, a very exciting appointment, and he's actually out of the country right now on a congressional delegation. And where in the world he is, even his staff doesn't know. And that's how sensitive some of that information is. So that's a little bit about what the Congressman has been working on this Congress. He's now the 16-year member on the Ways and Means Committee, which a lot of folks agree is the most important committee in Congress, both the Senate and the House. And he's honored to have that responsibility. So that's kind of the gist of what he's working on with the 21st District, and I